So everybody, today we have some interesting news, possible leaks, possible rumors, okay? We have one thing about the Nintendo Switch Pro, which is coming for a fact that was leaked by Bloomberg, obviously a mainstream media source, and we have some rumor, I'm going to call it a rumor on DLC for the Diamond and Pearl, that is to say, Shining Diamond and Brilliant Pearl, or whatever, the other way around. Now, they did call this rumor for the DLC a leak, but I am going to say it's a rumor, but it is extremely detailed, so we're going to look at this stuff. But first, the Nintendo Switch Pro stuff is important. A couple of days ago we looked at this. This was detailing the OLED display made by Samsung, new model for the Nintendo Switch Pro, which is expected this year. It's going to be featuring a larger size console, which is also going to be playing in 720p monitor, I guess, and it's also going to be 4K compatible along with the OLED and all this other stuff, okay? There's not really much more details other than that, so it will start mass production of 7-inch 720p resolution OLED panels, which are made by Samsung, okay? This is for the Nintendo Switch, of course. Now, this was leaked by insiders, which are remained, of course, unnamed here, of course. But this is reported by Bloomberg, the official actual news site. So that's pretty interesting. And, of course, some of the companies involved had no comment on that, especially when Samsung and Nintendo were actually approached for comment. They didn't give any. So that is a high indication that, oh no, you know, we let an oopsie, their leak got out. So we actually got some new information on this, which might indicate that we're absolutely certainly getting better hardware other than the displays. That information originated on this post here in Gaming Leaks and Rumors and got a considerable number of upvotes considering. So this is coming from someone called Nate Drake from Era, which is a website here, Reset Era, which seems to discuss a lot of game news and such, and it says, and this is a quote from him, "There will be some select exclusive, especially from third-party partners. May not be a big number of them, but I know at least one." So he is talking about exclusive games on the Nintendo Switch Pro that we're expecting later this year that will not be compatible with the current Nintendo Switches that we actually have right now. So this is going to be a similar situation to what we all know with the Nintendo DS's. Taking a closer look at that link anyway, that comes to right here. Nate Drake, a member of this, and says that there will be some select exclusives, especially for third party. This is the quote that we just read. I don't know who this is, but considering the number of upvotes, I don't know if that's just mob hype or if that's actually someone who's well known to be a part of the industry. He doesn't have any sort of verification on Reset Era here. He may just be a person commenting on it, and of course this is a character based off of a game, Uncharted or whatever, so it's a little odd that this got so many upvotes on Reddit if it isn't credible, but we'll see. And obviously what he does say here is credible because it has happened before. One small example of this was posted by Aster after I announced this on Twitter, and he was showcasing some ideas of the DS situation in which some DS consoles got exclusive third-party games. Not that they were particularly big scale, not that they were that well known, but it did happen, and that's exactly what they're predicting for the Nintendo Switch. So it's happened before, it can absolutely happen again. I would not be surprised, but it looks like they're going to absolutely keep the mainline games that do the big business like Zelda, Pokemon, Mario's compatible for both consoles, of course, because they don't want to isolate or alienate any sort of section of the consumer base, but they do want to still give a little bit of encouragement towards people buying the new console. So it's interesting that we actually have three tiers to look at here. We have the DSi exclusive, which is only DSi, then we have the DSi enhanced, which is just better on DSi, but it still works on the old one, and then we have the NDS, which is not compatible with the DSi. So that's interesting to look at, and that's obviously happened a number of cases. So right about here is when I'm going to ask you guys to drop a sub. If you didn't know, it gives you shiny luck, so you can find as many shiny Pokemon as you want. Don't ask me, ask my audience over on Discord. Links are all down below, guys. Definitely drop that sub, as well as for keeping on top of all the latest news. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this possibility? Do you think that's a hindrance to you? Do you think you're going to buy the Nintendo Switch Pro more likely or less likely because of this news? And what do you think might be an expectation for this console for you as a customer? Personally, I do want serious hardware upgrades, but from what we've seen so far in the leaks, I kind of have my doubts as to that happening, so we'll see if there's new information coming regarding the Nintendo Switch Pro. But on to Pokemon, the DLC. Welcome to Pokemon Polished Platinum, the pronounced DLC for Shining Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, coming later this year, and this is anticipated to come out in February 2022. Now, he does coin it as a leak here on Reddit. However, he also goes into extreme detail, which we're going to look through in a second. But I don't know, man. I guess you guys are going to be the better judge than me, and this is why I'm not calling this a leak. I'm calling this a rumor based off of what I understand from this. So here we have the artwork for it, okay? This is not official. I strongly doubt. Anyway, it does not look that polished, but it's just the person's rendition of it. So let's go into it, guys. We're releasing February 22 as free DLC, by the way, which is interesting, and it features the post-game, or what we would expect from post-game. It features a lot of stuff about Looker, a long Looker storyline. If you guys don't know who Looker is, I'm not actually that familiar with him because I kind of played through these games from Gen 4 and 5 a little quickly, not too in-depth, and only fairly recently, so the memory of these games is not solid. But Looker is one of those kind of funny characters, quirky kind of characters, a typical, stereotypical kind of PI sort of guy in the Pokemon games, and apparently more than one gen. I'm not hugely familiar with it, but he does appear in more than one gen. I do remember seeing him as I went through my own playthroughs, and you meet him in some suspect situations here and there, and this was one of them in Gen 4. This is where he started, in Gen 4, so we are expected to obviously see him again because he's one of the more memorable characters, I guess, for people who play this, and he does have multiple appearances all throughout in various gens, so it would be odd that we don't get to see him again. And it does seem that this leak that we're looking at right now, or rather rumor I should say, it suggests that he's actually going to have a main role in the post-game storyline, which is very intriguing. So one part is that we're going to be asked in the post-game, or in this DLC, to meet him in the resort area, which is this, a picture from the old one. He's going to introduce his elite task force made up of stat trainers, which, if you don't know, are NPC trainers who excel at a certain stat like attack or special attack or something like that. And his elite force has gone missing and they need your help. So already right off the bat, it kind of gives me vague recollections of what I experienced in the post-game in Sun and Moon, or maybe Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I forget. But either way, it kind of is starting to give me that sort of feeling because I never played the post-game sort of things, if there were any, with Looker in the other gens. So the Looker storyline goes like this. Looker gives you clues about various locations, sort of similar ideas, I guess, to the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon post-game. The Fuego Ironworks is where one is. I'm going to leave this all down below. I'm going to leave the link down below in the description for you guys to read through this in detail to save you some time. But either way, guys, he's going to give us various clues about different locations. The Wayward Cave. You search for clues in Abandoned Base as well until you find a secret room with destroyed prototypes. This is where they introduced the Rotom's room, interestingly enough. So this was a picture of the Rotom room in the past, and it looks like there's the Rotoms here, the different Rotoms, the fridge, or is that the washing machine? There's the fridge, there's the fan, there's the lawnmower. What's the last one? The oven. But also importantly, introduces the distortion world, okay? It seems to introduce that because apparently you're experiencing some sort of distortion in this that's related to a machine that distorts the universe, okay? That's kind of interesting because there's been a lot of speculation about the return of the distortion world. Another big introduction here in the postgame is Mega Evolutions. Now this rumor, I'm going to call it a rumor, seems to claim that the Mega Evolutions that people are already speculating about in Diamond and Pearl are going to make the return in the post-game, in this part of the story here, where Team Galactic come in and confront you and tell you they know of some Mega Evolution Pokemon, interestingly enough. And it seems you get rewards of Mega Stones throughout doing parts of these quests, more than one here. You get one here, you get one here for Lucaria Night as well, so it looks like that is a theme going through some of the post-game here. Another new feature that they seem to be suggesting will make a comeback is the Go Park that we experienced in Let's Go. This would be an interesting addition to help you transfer Pokemon over to the new little games, with the small style that it's going for, the Chibli style, and that is something that could be possible considering the big differences between that game and Sword and Shield and the game coming, the Legends Arceus coming next year. They're all very, very different looking, guys, and I wonder if this game, because it's being made by a different developer rather than Game Freak, might have some limitations in terms of its functionality with Pokemon Home or whatever. It might not be just direct trade over. This Go Park Park as opposed to Pal Park might actually be used to bring Pokemon into the game, which you might be able to bring over to Pokemon Home, similar to what you can do with Let's Go already. The story does seem to continue about this machine distorting the world and disrupting electricity and all this, and you are going to have to go down underground, in which you'll be uncovering traps from the underground as well as trainers that you'll have to beat in a series of double battles, and it's Commander Saturn and all this stuff, something about an overthrow and whatnot. So the continuation of the story. Once the whole part of the story of the machine destabilizing is over, Cynthia is introduced here, arrives, and you meet her in a Canalave library. And that's when you start hearing about the distortion world. After you get the Grizzly's Orb, you're going to meet up with Cynthia and Giratina, who's going to drag you into the distortion world, where you'll engage on your quest against Team Galactic, who is building a base there. Now, according to this rumor, the layout is the same, and you also have the Lake Guardians helping you through that again. But similar to what you would expect from Game Freak, or I know this isn't Game Freak, but at least the Pokemon Company, the difficulty has been removed by removing the strength puzzle. After you go through this part of the story, you're going to face Cyrus, who has a Mega Houndoom. Really interesting to see more introduction of Megas through this. And as for getting that Mega Houndoom yourself, it looks like that once you're finished the story part, you can return to the Distortion World and go to the building where the Galactic people were, and you'll find Houndoominite, okay? So that'll get it for yourself. And wrapping up the story, guys, it looks like you get a couple of gifts of Megastones from different people after some things are changed, all just wrapping up the whole story here, which seems to fit in, guys. This really is, it really reads like a bit of fan fiction, but it's really well done. That sounds very, very credible. The new features here that he claims are going to be introduced is the Mega Evolutions, which we just read about. Barry, Cynthia, Cyrus, and the Gym Leaders, Elite Four members, and Stat Trainers use Mega Evolutions. That seems to fit in with kind of Pokemon's MO anyway. The whole theme of it is being based around the end game, the post game. You can rematch Gym Leaders in their gyms or in the battleground. They'll use Mega Evolved Pokemon as well. And the Versus Seeker specifies trainers use Mega Evolved Pokemon too. And every Mega Stone can be mined in the underground. And of course, the biggest one, guys, people have always been expecting or hoping for is, of course, the Battle Frontier being added. The Pokemon Platinum Battle Frontier. But guys, again, you're just going to have to remember that this is just a rumor. So we do not have confirmation. But the way this is constructed, the way this whole thing is written is extremely realistic. But it does read like fan fiction, that's the only thing. There's too much detail, almost. You might think this is just completely made up, but it does feel like this is exactly what they do in their post games for Pokemon. So whoever wrote this has a lot of experience playing post games in Pokemon. So that's it for what you might expect from Pokemon Platinum DLC, apparently free, coming in February 2022. Now, the interesting part to think about here is that we heard that Pokemon Legends Arceus is coming early 2022. So when? How early? Could that just come straight after this? Maybe April or March? Maybe. But that doesn't give us very much time to play the DLC. They definitely want to keep some gaps here. But considering that it is two different companies, I think the gaps could be managed to be a lot closer than they have been in the past, to make sure that that quiet time is filled with something exciting and enjoyable. So you might only expect a 2-month gap between the release of this DLC, if true, and the next game, Legends Arceus, okay? So that's a big possibility. However, let me know what you all thought of that rumor, which, like I've said, I'm going to keep it as a rumor, not a leak, because it definitely isn't. It has to prove it before it does call it a leak, okay? So let me know what you guys think of that in the comments, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys around in the next video. Till then, tomorrow's giveaway are the Zarudes. I'll see you for that, guys. Bye!